That's key.
We kind of jumped over another hot topic beforehand, and you very legitimately, when I talked about these statistics on success, what the heck is success?
Yeah, good question.
I think that's a really hot.
Kurz rein,
Ja.
jetzt noch 3 Minuten, dann ist es 10 vor.
Passt, danke.
Okay. Machen wir das noch?
Ja.
Yeah. So what's success?
Success is, I mean, we can spend days on discussing it, but then
You've got exactly 3 minutes.
thank you very much. But actually, at the end of the day, it has to make sure that organizations can survive, that make sure that organizations get better, that they are established on the market, and to make sure that they are standing, moving, outstanding, and whatever there is, it supports and helps organizations and people to move forward.
Yeah.
I do not really care about we have a employee satisfaction after 16 years of the project, which is increased by 5%. Who cares? So whatever we do, it has to have direct business impact. It has to really support the strength of the organization, the strategic position of the organization. And everything which is waste, which is just administrative stuff, which is just here to fulfill any stupid legislations, just ask yourself the question, do I really need it?
I might only slightly disagree with you as far as the employee satisfaction is concerned, because I think that's also a distant indicator of whether or not your employees stay with you.
Yeah, but how you measure it?
So that's a different story. I would say principally this. I think there's a lot of argument for and against quantitative measurement, but I stick to the old principle: what cannot be measured can't be improved. So I think we need to release ourselves from the illusion that our estimate is accurate, because what does 80% of anything say?
Yeah, but still, how do you measure culture?
Okay.
How do you measure?
There are very interesting concepts. They're just complex.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? I think we have to get away from this illusion that it has to be accurate. It needs to be an indicator. Okay, not a fact. Or it should be an approximate fact and not an absolute fact. I will say I'm a big fan of this discussion, and I think the whole ESG thing and impact movement has done a lot in this direction. I think success is multifaceted, and I think we need to acknowledge that. First thing about it is all projects have an output. Most people say, I don't care about the output. That's BS. We have requirements because those requirements are a semblance or an attempt for quality. And I think that should be measured. I think output quality is important and it should be measured. So in the classical sense of success means in time, in budget, in scope. How many projects are all three? 100%? 0.
Yeah, but not necessarily, because just if it's in scope, in time, in budget, doesn't mean it helps.
I'll get there. I'm not saying it's not mutually exclusive. I'm saying that's a starting point.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm a big fan of you can do the complex stuff, but if you don't do the basics, then you've got to. So from a managerial perspective, in time, in scope, in budget is the problem is 0% of all projects are in time, scope, and budget, because it's like hitting 3 bullseyes. I often say you have to, in quality management, you create acceptable ranges. So what is it, 10%? Realistic, more like 20% up and down. It's never down, so it's probably up, okay? If we can accept that from an executive review thing, that I think would be a step in the right direction. But let's get to what you're actually saying. In reality, executives don't give a hoot about outputs. They care about benefits, which is not output, it's outcomes, right? And I think that's why it's so important to have a PMO, because who else is going to measure the outcomes because the project ends. Outcomes usually happen long after a project. And that's a difficult part. That's where it gets more complicated. And I agree with you. Those should be the real thing. Did we have realistic outcome expectations? How much did the project contribute to it? Were there other factors? So you can't blame the project completely, okay? You might look at also the program or the overall organization or different functions. And then I think where we have the greatest weakness, and this already goes in the direction of portfolio management. Portfolio management covers quantitative, but that's the third element, which I like to call impact, okay? And the best way to rephrase this is short-term, immediate, the output. Mid-term is benefits and outcome. And long-term, why we're really doing it, is it meeting a strategy? Is it changing the world in a positive sort of way? is impact long term. And I think we are still in baby shoes in
Definitely.
what that's concerned.
And we have to move as fast as possible. Yeah.
And I think that's probably also the battle cry that the project management community has to rally behind is I think the biggest strength and weakness of project management definition is that it has a beginning and an end. Most of the important stuff happens before, and a lot of the important stuff happens after.
Yeah. So it's not about the start and the beginning and start and end. Yeah.
Absolutely. So much for value. I mean, I think the whole conversation about output, outcome, and impact is actually an older topic, but it leads into the newer topic of value delivery. And I think that's the key. Although I think what's important with the whole concept of value delivery that we don't start a new religion. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. No religions anymore.
I think I'm absolutely with you. If we just focus on getting things done, but go that extra mile to measure that we've done a good job, do good things and talk about it.
But still, question is, are we doing the right things and how they link to strategy actually, right? So do organizations have those projects in place, those standards in place that really somehow are linked to a strategy that really generate value? So like the whole topic of portfolio management, actually, is it just a nice word on paper and I think like a lot of organizations do not really have an overview about all the projects, about how many projects are going on, how are they linked to each other, what's their strategic value, what's their benefit, what are the costs, how are they linked, which project is delivering what, how are they linked, and so on and so on.
Is there a sponsor?
Is there a sponsor or not?
Does the sponsor know what his or her job is?
How many portfolios are there? There is an innovative portfolio which are somehow working out of anything.